that's what I've been trying to say. But Gabriel's saying that they have to get rid of everybody. They're gonna
I didn't say they have to
to
get
an
rid of
extent,
everybody.
though.
I said
Like
no. I
again,
said they had to get rid of the poor people.
you're still looking at it with like past eyes. You're thinking about like I'm gonna take my robot girlfriend to the movies, and no, that infrastructure isn't gonna be there.
The thing is that
You're gonna be taking your virtual reality girlfriend to the movies in Neptune, and then you're gonna fly off in a spaceship, and you're gonna visit another planet. That's what I'm saying is gonna happen.
exactly.
And you're not gonna
I
care
think
whether it's
I think that's more far away than having the robots.
No.
But this brings me on to a point about like if you see modern movies and like TV, like you might be able to find like male characters that are well written. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if they're like a bad person or something like that. Like if you watch Better Call Saul, he's like a pretty good character. You know what I mean? Even though he's like slimy and this and that. But what I found is that in the last 2 years, every single piece of movie, media, TV show that I've watched, like people don't know how to write women anymore. Like because of the way that things are now, it's like they're incapable of writing a likable female character. And I mean, maybe that's like an impossibility.
But I liked the female character in Avatar as well.
Yeah, but she's not really a main character.
She wasn't, but it was an impact. Like her and him make that movie.
Yeah, but
that relationship, the two of them
she's
together.
not the focal point. You know, I mean,
she isn't.
Whereas
and the thing is,
you look at the perfect example is that let's say Sarah was like, "Oh, let's watch something together." So I was like, "What can we watch?" And then I was like, "Oh, there's a new TV show of The Last of Us. It's like a video game." You've played it, right? No, you're an Xbox guy. But anyway, I knew the games, and like they're pretty faithful to the games in as far as the adaptation goes. But the female character, they've changed her like to it's like all the female characters now are just like rude and like, oh, I know it all, you know what I mean? Sort of like that's not a real person, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I think that kind of I don't know if you guys were able to see, but I put in a video in the chat about the future of world population, like population control. And it's really funny because it's actually a sort of a fringe channel. So you're obviously not going to have like your liberal types or even your like right-leaning types people in the comment section. It's usually very I would say like a based kind of demographic that would watch that kind of channel. But what I did notice is that the general sentiment in the comment section across the board is poor people are bad. You see what I mean? And I think Jordan Peterson addressed this a long time ago when he had the whole big, he was just having to go at somebody because they asked like, oh, there's too many people in the world and all this kind of stuff. And for me, the interesting thing is just to sprinkle a little bit of dust on that, the way the fact that we cannot, create female characters anymore is because and this, I think this is a new term because I tried to look it up and I couldn't find it, but the gynocentrification of the world, which is currently on steroids happening right now, essentially means that everyone's been talking about population control, but in reality, what we're talking about is gynocentrification, which basically means women no longer have to do their main role as nature has demanded them to do for so many years, which is to have children. So if women don't have to have children anymore, who's going to have children? And that fits perfectly into Agenda 2030, and it fits in perfectly into climate change, because everybody knows that climate change is the code word for poor people, right? Because it's got nothing to do with climate and everything to do with poor people. You know what I mean? Like,
And you think pushing
oh,
this bad behavior on like movies and stuff further reinforces the point of like that women don't need to have children, basically.
it's not so much that women don't need to have children, because think about it. This whole what's been happening in the U.S. right now is everyone's freaking out because like the right's trying to do their last push. Like
Yeah, they're
their
getting all
last
the
like
reinforcements.
attempt. Yeah, their last
It's
attempt
like Lord of
to.
the Rings in like the Two Tower and like the Return of the King at the end, that they get like all the reinforcements and they go to like Sauron and they like try to fight them, but there's like a tiny
Yeah,
little army against like.
but
The thing is that we
I
don't
don't
have.
know.
The thing is that we don't have Frodo.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't even think the right does things because it's right or because it's wrong. They just do things because traditionally that's the role that they have to play. So they're like, oh, we're supposed to be, pro life. You know what I mean?
Okay, the
And
right nowadays is also ruined. Like,
no, but that's what I mean. That's they don't see things with an objective sort of outcome. They see things as in, oh, our role is to fight for life because we've always fought for life, irrespective of what that means. So they don't actually dig in and explain why they have to, defend that cause specifically. But the truth of the matter of fact is, anybody who argues otherwise is wrong, is all this pro-life and pro-choice is basically a code word for promiscuity at the end of the day, because if women aren't screwing, if they're not fucking, then there's no need for anything, right?
yeah,
That's all this is. That's all we're talking about. My body, my choice, but it's not to abort. It's my body, my choice to get on the cock carousel. That's what we're arguing. You know what I mean? Because a dude, like one guy can populate a whole island by himself, literally, but
yeah,
one woman can't because she has to wait 9 months,
yeah.
and then she needs to get banged up again, and then 9 months, and then one dude can do it. You know what I mean? So I think all that is to say that this new role, this new female role, nobody knows what it is. This is why they can't define what a woman is. What is a woman? You know what I mean? Like everybody,
Because it's anything
oh, I'm not a
nowadays.
biologist. Yeah.
Because it's everything. But if it's everything, then it's nothing, I think.
No, it's not that it's everything, it's that nobody knows because it's yet to be determined. You know what I mean? If the future is the woman is not going to do her role that nature has given her to do, which is to have children. If the future is she no longer has to abide by those rules, then who's going to fulfill that role? Men can't do it.
No.
We can't have babies.
Well,
So who's going to have babies in the future?
what the left can say is they can say like, oh, but what they're doing now is they're doing whatever they want to do. So if they want to have children, they can have children, and if they don't want to have children, they don't have to have children. They're
Yeah,
free to do
but
whatever.
yes, but you can't write that into a pension fund, can you? You know what I mean? You need concrete numbers, and the numbers are based on forecasts, on predictions. You see what I mean? So the workforce of tomorrow will pay for the pension funds of people working today. If there's not enough people to work in those jobs to create those social security operations and transactions of money, physical cash flow into these pension funds, then
Although
old people aren't going to get paid.
I
You
think
see what I mean?
where you're wrong
Where's that
is
workforce coming
the
from?
workforce is coming from poor people or like underdeveloped countries. Like they'll just export
To
a bunch of cheap labor that can do the work that like
cheap labor, but and this is the perfect segue, because cheap labor to do what?
to do whatever we're doing nowadays.
But there you've got a problem, because AI and robotics is going to do the
Yes.
heavy lifting in the future. So
Yeah.
you don't need poor people anymore.
Mm.
That fixes your climate change issue. You have the gynocentrification of the world, which means we no longer need people because we have a population problem, but it's actually we have a poor people problem. And what you need to do is now create a new economy based off of middle management up. Everybody under middle management down needs to get eliminated from this system because they're no longer required. So the future is good genetics. So essentially, you know,
Looks maxing.
exactly. Well, not only that, it's going to be high IQ,
Yeah.
tall, good looking, you know, whatever the
I also
metric is
don't,
going to.
because I also think that I think the central planners are already have like a backup plan for when it comes to like fertility rates, and I think they put a lot of their hopes on what they can do with engineering, on how to engineer babies. So I
Yeah,
don't even think it's
artificial
about
wombs.
genetics. Yeah, artificial wombs, and then designer babies, and just let the state take over this. Like they don't even need to worry about that
No, but what I'm saying as well
having enough.
is what I'm saying as well is just because poor people can't don't like be needed for work, that doesn't mean that they're gonna stop having kids. Because I mean, statistically speaking, poor people have more kids than people that go to college. So
But
how are you gonna make
poor
them?
people have poor people have more kids in third world countries
Well,
because they haven't been gynocentrified yet. But as soon as you bring in the big boss bad bitch feminism movement
but that
into third world countries, it's over. The fertility rates are gonna. If you look at the actual numbers
Not
in,
necessarily. I mean, like they
dude,
didn't
look
have
at
to
the
do it.
numbers
They
in
didn't have to
all the
do it
big
in China. In
supposed
China, they didn't have to do it.
egalitarian countries like the Norwegian countries.
yeah,
Look
because the
look at
Norwegian countries aren't filled
Scandinavian.
with
Sorry, the Scandinavian region.
the Scandinavian countries aren't filled with like religious groups like the Muslims. Like they're not gonna stop having kids.
Religious section of the U.S. from having kids, and you're not going to stop the Muslim population from having kids
Exactly.
either. That's their mission statement, bro. That's it's like
Okay, so I think in the world that we live in today, that's what it looks like. I think fast forward 10 years, that's completely irrelevant. Because what you have right now is you have two factions of the Muslim faith, let's put it that way, that are fighting for what Islam is going to look like in the next 10 years. And the Islam that you guys are talking about, where people just, you know, have 10 wives and they just pop out babies, that Islam is going to be obsolete in 10 years.
but it's not even about 10 wives. It's about like just a traditional
Yeah.
Western Islamic relationship. The woman has 2 or 3 kids.
Today,
I think that's
today,
the
today, today, today.
Yeah.
Go to Dubai, go to Saudi Arabia, go to
It's the
Qatar.
same, bro.
It's the same because of their economy, because of their system that they have. But
No, bro,
that's
but I'm talking about poor people here that are from the Muslim faith. They'll have 2 or 3 kids
Yeah.
and they live with their mom, and
okay.
that's
And
just how they
those
are,
wait,
bro.
and
I
those.
know I have friends that are married to their wife, live with their parents,
Mm-hmm.
then they live with like a brother from those two parents, and they also have kids in that same house. So, and that's normal. You know what I mean?
I know I understand what you're saying, but I think
And they don't even look at it like, oh, we're anti that's
okay.
just
So
their culture.
your argument is that UK Islamo culture is going to save the fertility rates in the West.
Well,
Well,
their fertility rate isn't being affected by this.
To me, that
I
doesn't make
think you
any
guys.
sense.
Okay, can you guys? I can give my 2 words on it. I think that the central planners are not even worried about that because they have bigger plans. They have bigger plans, and where I'm coming from is that I think they setting. I'm coming more from the James Corbett point of view, that they're setting up the world to go into conflict. Like they're setting up a fist fight, and they're gonna take out everybody in the middle. That's why they're not concerned about
so
like how to control the fertility
so
rate
you believe after this fist fight,
from.
there's only gonna be poor people left and rich people?
No, I mean the fist fight is exactly that. The fist fight is to globalize the world. That's the first objective, and the second one is to eliminate all the poor people. Get rid of all the poor people in one shot.
Like through war?
Because of course, if you have a war, the first people that go are the poor. Anybody who has some kind of wealth, they're gonna be like, at least they're gonna have some kind of leverage against the war. But anybody who's struggling right now, I mean, it's a war. Like in a war, it's the same situation like in Ukraine. It's like who can help you if there's not a government? Who can help you if there's not an institution? Like if there's not something set up there to support you? All these things, especially if there's a war and the economy is broken. Like the war is the perfect card that they need that they're gonna pull out from their sleeve. Perfect. It's the perfect thing. It's like a gift from heaven. And I think that's what the central planners are thinking. Like they don't need to worry about these issues.
I think my argument goes beyond
if you go
goes
if you
beyond
see his
because I'm talking about systems. I'm not talking about a one-time solution or like a patch. I'm
they
talking
already
about
have a system. Their system is a
and
technocratic
yeah,
system
but that's what I'm
that
saying.
society is going to be ruled by a technocratic system where technology is going to take over the
Exactly,
decision
and
making.
in that system, how does and that's my question and my argument at the same
I
time.
just said just
In the
as
new
I said
system, before we
the
eliminate.
state is going to take over
Okay, but
they're
let
going
me
to
just
take
make the
over
question and then
breeding.
you can answer it. Let me make the question
Okay.
and then you can answer it. What I'm saying is, irrespective of you're saying, oh, we need to get rid of this first, let's call it the first wave of mass
Okay.
deletion that needs to happen.
Yes.
I'm saying after that, and I'm not saying that I think that that's going to happen, but let's go with your argument. Let's say that happens. After that, you still need a system. And then for the question, and then the argument is, in that system, how does fertility rates play a role in manpower returns for an economic system that was set up and based on, manual on labor of poor people? You see what I mean?
Okay. So
If you
my
if you
personal
if you remove that, you have to redesign the economy. So that's kind of my
okay.
question
So
and my argument.
they've already been like how to say it's that word. They've already been like they've been promoting this for many years. What kind of system they're planning, and there's a whole genre of movies, literature, comics, whatever you name it, predicting what these people fantasize about. And their first one of the main things when it comes to gender and female and male, all that and I think that's the steps that they're taking now, is that they need to deconstruct what it is to be a man and what it is to be a woman, because in their technocratic dystopian world there's not going to be such a thing as a man and a woman. It's just going to be two cast, the smart and the dumb, and it's all going to be socially engineered with drugs and food. Basically the food, they're going to be feeding food, some kind of food to one population, another kind of food to another population. One population is going to doing the heavy lifting, and these people are going to be bred in farms, like David was mentioning just now, like factories where they can just pump out like dumb people whenever they want. And you're going to have the small elite that are going to be living off the profit. That's in I'm coming from that point of view because I view the world as a farm, and they're basically now they're centralizing all the farms, and they see us as cattle and as chickens and whatever, and they're basically centralizing all the farms to create a technocratic, like a farm that is run with an AI technocratic system.
Yeah, but I
And
think
where you don't need, where the institution of the family, the mother, the father, all those values, they go to the wayside. They're irrelevant, they're meaningless because they don't play a role in that system, because that system is run by artificial intelligence system that takes care of everything.
okay, but
And you don't even need
okay.
to have genders.
Yeah, but okay,
And you're gonna control everything with
there's a lot
drugs.
of
You're gonna control
new brave in that new brave world in that, and
yes,
I agree
yes,
with
yes, yes,
some
yes.
of it, but you didn't answer the core of the question. You see what I mean? Which is, what is the role of fertility rates? So let me say that again. What is the role of fertility rates in manpower returns in a new economic model?
I think
Well,
what Gabriel's saying is that that's going to be irrelevant because they can just control
exactly.
that.
They're probably gonna have a AI system that's gonna
They'll crunch the
automate.
numbers
That's
at
I
the
gonna
don't
end.
think
automate.
that's irrelevant. That is the most fundamental question because
I know, but if you have
we're
everything
talking about
on a like
it. I'll tell
on
you
a
why it's the
chart, like
most
on an Excel
fundamental
chart.
question, because what is the purpose of mankind? That's the same question but with different words. What is the purpose of
Well, so
mankind? You see what I mean? So at the moment, and I agreed with you when you laid out your argument, that at the moment, we live in a system where the purpose of mankind is to serve this economic system that we're currently in, where everybody has to chip in a percentage of their, the services that they provide to this system in order for a small percentage of people to benefit from that work. Right, that's what, and so it
Well,
makes
the
sense
purpose
that the
of
more
mankind right now
people
is
you
to
have
keep the farm
chipping
functioning.
into that system, the more people you have chipping into that system, the more profit you make. But what happens when you don't have
It's not
those
about
people
profit.
chipping in anymore? Well, it's always about profit, isn't it? At the end of the day,
It's,
within
I don't
within
think it's
this
about profit. No.
within this economic system, it's about profit. So
Okay,
that's why
the,
my argument is what is the role of fertility rates and manpower returns? Because at the end of the
okay,
day,
so
what we're saying is actually no, we need to change the economy. This
but
this
look,
idea of
the economy is already changing.
no, the economy is still like the fundamental basis
The
of
economy
how
has
the
been changing
economy
for the last
works
100 years.
is
I
profits
mean,
for
we
shareholders.
went from the gold standard. They and this is
No, no,
actually
no. You're
miraculous
talking.
that
I'm talking
they got
about
away with it.
I'm
They went
talking
from the
about.
gold standard
No, I'm
to
talking about the
literally
purpose.
fiat currency,
No, you're
which has
talking
no
about
value,
particulars. I'm talking
But
and
that
about the
people
happened
didn't do
about
purpose.
like
anything about it.
60 years ago, though.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking
Pardon?
about the purpose,
That happened
not
like 100 years ago.
Gabriel. I'm talking
But
about the
that's my whole
purpose,
point.
not the particulars. The particulars, fiat, gold, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's profit for shareholders. That's the
It's
system that
not
we live
profit
in
for
right now.
shareholders.
No,
It's not profit
right
I
for
don't, I
now,
don't
the
shareholders.
get I
system
don't
that
get your question then. I mean, what are you asking? Like, what is the role of fertility gonna be in the return? I mean, again, isn't this
dude, the
question
whole
out the
system.
window
No, the whole system
when
is
you can control the population and how many numbers are like if you have total control, let's say I need 100,000 babies in 18 years that will be workers, and you can just produce that artificially. Does that
In a
not make
farm.
your question irrelevant?
No, it doesn't, because this is what I'm trying to. This is what you guys don't understand, is that the system is, like Gabriel said, it's a farm, and you sell chickens, right? The more if you want to create more profit for your shareholders, your goal would be to mass produce chickens, to have as many chickens as you want. But we see now with what the central planners are doing that they've completely gone a 180 on that strategy, meaning that they're not mass producing chickens anymore. So what does that say about their overall goal, their overall strategy? You see what I mean?
That not chicken.
If
That not a lot of people are eating chickens, or chickens won't be necessary anymore.
exactly, and if chickens aren't going to be necessary, what's the point in having humans anyways? You see what I
Because that's
mean?
the whole point. Because
But that's what we're saying.
that my point is very simple. My point is that what Miguel is trying to allude is that I think that you're trying to make a point with your question that the way the world is being run, and maybe we disagree on this, is that the purpose is profit, right?
Exactly.
For the shareholders,
Exactly.
for the shareholders.
Exactly.
And I completely disagree with that. My point of view is completely different. My point of view is that the purpose uh is not profit. Their purpose is control.
Power, I would
It's
say.
something completely different.
But
Not power, control.
but control for what?
Control
What is
because
the end
I'm gonna
goal of the control? Isn't it
control
the
the
end goal
system.
of control is to have more profit
No,
for the shareholders?
no, control the system.
Why
That's
They
control it
already
for what?
control
What
the
is the
system.
purpose of controlling? No,
exactly.
exactly. And the question is, why do you want the control? What's the net benefit
Well,
of controlling the system?
it's perfect, and I have and that's a perfect segue
Surely there has
about
to
what I
be an
wanted to talk.
underlying reason why you want to do something. You know what I mean? When you want to control somebody or when you want to control something, it's because you want to get some type of benefit out of it.
Exactly.
What is the
So
benefit?
let's say if you do research about like the people who are on the top on the hierarchy, most of the people behind the scenes that already have in like the wealth that they acquired already is is impossible for them to spend it in not even like 3 or 4 generations because it's that kind of money. So it's not really about profit. That's just one point of view that I have on that particular issue, that these people have enough money that can last them at least 4 to 5 generations, and we're talking about like the Rothschilds, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to get into the details, but The point is that the way that I see is that we as human beings, we're sentient beings. We always have choices that the way that we want to behave or the way that we want to engage in the world, right? And if we as free human beings want to engage in the world, it's just like a point of view. Why would we be interested in going in a direction that would be possessed by this lust for control? You understand what I mean?
No.
Because the more you have, the more paranoid you have about losing what you have.
Well, you can
No,
say
I
that
don't think
absolute,
so. I think
like,
it's gonna be
power
because
corrupts and
we're not
absolute.
gonna care.
That is also true.
No,
We're
but
not
I
gonna
think the
care when
people
you.
on the I think the people on the top are driven by fear. That's why they need control.
No, what I mean is like Gabriel's saying, like how like people are gonna give up that control because it's what we're gonna get in return is gonna be on paper better. You know what I mean?
I know,
Like
but
when you
what
can
is the
go home, when you can go
okay?
home from your job at the factory, and you just connect into your mainframe, into your paradise,
VR world.
like artificial paradise, and you have two, big titted Japanese wives in like artificial world. You know what I mean? You're not gonna give a fuck what you're doing in the rest of the day because
I know,
that's
but
gonna
I'm not
be
talking
as
about
real to
that.
you.
Like,
But
let
what I
me
mean
let
is
me
like
make
then it's not gonna be like they're gonna have to put these implements for control. People are just gonna be happy with,
Nothing.
the
I
No,
artificial.
understand.
I
I'm
think
not
I
talking
think
about
that's
that. I'm
not
saying,
I think that's not my
well, let
argument.
me
My
let
my
me
argument before, and I think we're kind of segueing here a bit, is that there needs to be the reason for your existence, and my argument since the beginning has been since 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 the beginning of the industrial revolution, the reason for mankind to exist, the purpose of mankind to exist, has been to generate profit for shareholders. That's it. That is 101 economics. Everyone knows that. The reason that mankind was allowed to have a job, to go to a factory, to have a house, to buy a car, was because the net benefit of him doing that to a shareholder was good.
But you
Now,
don't have to go through the industrial revolution. You can go through since the Roman times, bro, or since any time that there's been an organized government.
yeah, but we're talking about
The
freedom here.
population's purpose has been to serve and increase profits and
Of
increase
course,
the
of
empire.
course. But we're
So
talking
I
about
don't
return
get
on
what your point
investment.
is, though.
Pavlov's laws. We're talking
But
about return on
what's your
investment
point,
here.
though? Because
My point, my,
I don't
yeah,
really get what you're talking about, to
my
be honest.
point is, my point is that from a foundational level, you're moving the bedrock on which everything was built. The reason why we have freedoms today is because the return on investment to the shareholder made more sense with the freedoms that we have today than for us to be enslaved.
Yeah,
They did all these studies.
yeah.
The
But
psychologists,
that's what I mean. So you're
they did
answering
all
your
these
own
studies, and they
question,
said, you know what, people actually work longer hours. They're more efficient at their work. They're more focused when you give them a little bit of freedom.
bro. But you're
That's why we
answering
have
your own
2 days off in a
question.
week.
You're answering your own question. Like
No,
the
but this
reason
is
that.
no, but the question was to you guys. The question was, if we're going to replace the system of shareholder value, then what is the purpose of even having humans anymore? Because there's no need to have them anymore. You see what I mean?
But there will be to an extent.
What
At the
for?
end of
Well,
at
to
the
You
end
see
buy
what I mean?
to buy
well,
stuff, because
shareholder value.
well,
At the end of the
exactly. The
day,
the
at the end of the
shareholders.
day,
Wait. The shareholders, they
not really,
have a
not really. And
company,
this is
and
where I
that
want to make
company
my.
sells stuff. Someone needs to buy what they sell. No.
Yeah, that's why you
So
have a
this whole
consumer
world,
market as well.
exactly, this whole world that is gonna be created, this whole VR world, this whole thing, all this new stuff, there has to be a consumer.
Yeah, a consumer. There needs to be a consumer
Well,
market.
so then that's
Okay,
why
so
the chickens aren't really that irrelevant as you may think.
That's what I've been trying to say. But Gabriel's saying that they have to get rid of everybody. They're gonna
I'm.
and
I
but
didn't say they have to
to
get
an
rid of
extent,
everybody. I
though,
said
like
no. I
again,
said they had to get rid of the poor people.
but poor people are the
That's what I
biggest
said.
consumers in the world, man.
No,
Well, it
because
depends on what
I
you
see it in
consider
a completely
poor.
different way. And that this is a good segue into what I wanted to talk about today. It's about about AI, but
Yeah.
maybe I can be the last one, and then
No,
I
no,
would
go
like
ahead, go
you
ahead.
guys to go first. No, you guys go first. I just want to. What is your like? If you had to define,
Yes,
what
but
is
can
it to
we
you?
before we segue, so we can close this off, because obviously if people are watching this, they want to kind of find a conclusion to where we were trying to
That's what
get to.
I mean. I think you're posing the question, but okay, I would answer it then. What's because I don't know how to answer your question. I'm going to be honest. So you're posing the question. Now you answer it.
No, I was posing a question which was an argument based off of, guys, if the system is changing completely and we're no longer doing, the shareholder, the consumer market, we're not doing any of this stuff anymore because the system is completely changing.
But we don't
AI
agree with
and
No,
that statement.
robotics.
It's
I disagree.
changing, but not like to the extent that you think it's changing to. Humans are
I
still gonna be
disagree
Yeah, I
because my
think
necessary.
premise is
I
The
think the
premise of your
goal is still
question
the same.
is not really factual.
It's
As you
not.
said
I
It's
before,
disagree.
actually.
as you
It's
said
actually
before,
not.
they probably crunched the numbers. They probably crunched the numbers, and they're like, okay, if we give them a bit of freedom, entertainment, this and
Yeah,
that, the productivity is going to be this and that. They probably crunched some numbers again and said like, okay, if we create this artificial environment that they'll be happy and blah 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 blah, they'll be like this. You can entertain them like that. They'll be atomized.
yeah.
You can do like
Oh, I
this. We can
completely
have
disagree.
population control through artificial wombs. We can control the population. We can control all the stuff, and we'll have that much profit. So it's probably the same in different
But
calculations are
but
going on with the same
I
purpose because now they
I
have
even
more
disagree with
technology
that
to do.
statement because having the freedom to buy a car and to buy a house, for me that's not freedom. You still need to use their currency. That's why when I made my question, I put I when I
Well,
made my statement, I
you
said
can say
the
artificial
people on
freedom
the
or
top
whatever, but
are people on the top are obsessed with control. That's my main argument, right?
Yeah,
The
but
people
you
But
on the
haven't
top are
explained why. Why control? Why?
m-
Why do they need to control?
my because of AI, and that's where my segue comes in. But
Huh?
before I go there,
So
my
wait. So you're saying
yes,
since the Industrial
yes, yes,
Revolution?
yes.
Let's wait. Let's not go all the way back. Let's just say
let me
from
put
No,
it
the
wait.
from the
let me put it
Industrial Revolution to today,
let me put it
they've
easier
been
for
thinking
Gabriel.
about
Let's say
AI.
you don't even have to go through the
Let
industrial. So let's say if you take the Roman Empire, right?
Hmm.
What was the purpose of the government and its people in those times? What was the purpose that the
that
population
question is
served?
for
Expansion.
who?
Expansion.
That question
For
is
you,
for
World
who?
Gabriel.
domination.
For you, Gabriel.
For me,
Well, I know, but what I
I'm
mean
st-
is that the population served as the taxpayer that would give money to the government, right?
Yeah, the Roman Empire had a very clear vision.
Yeah,
They wanted to expand their system to the whole entire known world at that time.
exactly. So
And they needed,
what I'm asking
but
Gabriel, he's
I'm
saying
still
the
okay.
people that are in control are obsessed with control, or the people that are
Okay,
in power are
when
obsessed with
they
control.
I'm
already
still gonna
control
So,
okay.
everything.
well, yeah, they already control everything. But what I want to, it's the same question that Miguel just asked. Basically, what is the purpose of that control?
Exactly. That's
So
Okay,
you
what
don't
he
even
well,
have
he
to
just
let
go
says
me
to.
control, control,
You
control.
okay.
But
can't say
why?
AI
No,
because
no,
we're
no.
talking about the Roman times, the Industrial Revolution times.
No, we can go back to the times of Adam and Eve. Is all the same. I'm coming from a different perspective. Don't get me wrong. I'm coming from a completely different perspective.
Yeah,
But
man,
you're
you can
still gonna say
still answer the
AI.
question.
Roman times, Adam and Eve, the Babylonian system, whatever system you want to pull, I'm still gonna say AI because the when maybe I see it
Right. So the
as a
purpose
chef
of
sees
control
something.
is AI.
When you start cooking something, you have a lot of preparations and you have a lot of steps, and there's a lot of things. There's a journey that has to build up for you to reach to the climax, to the main point of of your of what you want to achieve, right? And this was they tried to achieve this before with the Tower of Babel, and it's the same system. It's repeating itself, and that's why I wanted to talk about this, and that was my segue. But before I get into that, what I posed my original question was why are they obsessed with control? And then what is the opposite of being obsessed with control? The opposite of being obsessed with control is being obsessed with not having control. And being obsessed with not having control is giving freedom. And if if the world would go in that direction, the world would be a very different place. So you can see that there's underlying forces that control the system to go in a certain direction. That's why I say it's not about the profit for the shareholders. That's just That's just a piece in the machine that moves the machine, but it doesn't tell you where the machine is going. And
But you've
my
not
my,
answered the
my
question yet.
No, I think it is that
no,
because okay, so I'll put it to you
But
like
the
this.
thing is, can me Gabriel try to answer that question? What is the purpose of their control?
Well,
for
I already
of their
explained
control.
it, but he just
Yeah.
doesn't accept
Okay, but
it.
I
Because
can
my
explain
can
it
I
perfectly when
can
Yeah,
I
but you
explain
already
the
make
purpose
explained
of
your
control?
point. I just want to know what
Can I
what
explain
he's
the
on
purpose
about.
of control? And then
Yeah,
if you
but
guys don't like it,
we
you
already
guys
know
can
what your
disagree with
point
it.
is. I just don't get what Gabriel's point is.
Okay, but if I
I
explain
think. Wait.
my reason,
I think Gabriel is trying to get to a point where he can't really say it
Wait,
because it's
no,
ingrained with the AI topic, and I think I see
yes,
his
it's a
vision.
lot deeper.
okay, so
It's a lot deeper.
I will
It's going
pose my argument, and my argument is very simple. It's the snake that eats its own tail, basically.
exactly.
You need to
You got it.
have, in order for the and that's why I
It's
said
the
for
snake that
me,
eats its own tail. You got
it's
it.
the snake that eats its own tail. It's over unity. That's what it's called. It's over unity. That's basically the definition from, let's say, from a mathematical perspective. It would be the holy grail over unity. You know, the machine that runs itself. It never stops. It doesn't need, it goes against all the laws of physics. So the reason why for me it was the purpose was shareholder value was because as the shareholder, when you have more funds, let's say, you have more power, and with more power you can then purchase more control. But in order to have that, you need to then have the funds necessary to reinvest so that then you can have more shares. So then that's why it's the snake that eats its own tail, because
Okay,
you start off as like a small
so
shareholder, and then
how
you
would
just
you
build your power.
how would
That's
you
why everybody
how's the
worships people
analogy?
like Warren Buffett and Elon Musk
Okay,
and
how does the
Jeff Bezos.
analogy connect with AI and with the questions that we posed previously? So maybe everybody can have a turn, and then I'll
Well,
be
I mean,
next
I started off
to give
with
mine.
fertility rates, and for me, that was interesting because it kind of makes a dent into the whole. Basically, what you're saying is, my factory,
David, your mic's
my
muted.
what's the belt thing called in the supermarket?
The
That
conveyor
goes
belt.
around the conveyor belt of humans is kind of being not stopped, but it's being fudged with this gynocentrification of the world. So basically, we're saying, you know what? We don't need so many humans, and that was my argument. My argument was this is something that we need to pay special attention to, because if the conveyor belt of humans is going to be stopped or slowed down for whatever reason, then why? Because this is going to affect shareholder profits.
Not really, because they have new technology that can uh, counteract that. That's what I was trying to say initially. Is that like this is planned out? That doesn't really matter. If they needed people, they would just change the culture. So
And that's the answer that I was expecting you guys to say since
I
we
said the
started
answer
this
like
Yeah,
20
conversation.
minutes
we've
ago,
been.
bro.
No, because I think then that's where Gabriel comes in with artificial intelligence. Boom. We're basically replacing the conveyor belt of humans with a new human, which is
Yeah.
the artificial human.
And then Gabriel, your segue
Oh.
was we you want us to describe what we think artificial intelligence is. Is that what you're trying to?
What's
Yeah,
the question?
yeah.
You want us to describe what artificial intelligence is?
I don't think we've even seen the tip of the iceberg. I think the potential of what the internet is going to do to society, both good and bad, is unimaginable. I think we're actually on the cusp of something exhilarating and terrifying.
It's just a tool, though, isn't it?
No, it's not. No, it's an alien life form.
What do you think? I mean, when you think then about the
Is there
future
life
of-
on Mars? Yes, it's just landed here.
But it's simply a different delivery system there. You're arguing about something more profound.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about the actual context, and the state of content is going to be so different to anything that we can really envisage at the moment. Where the interplay between the user and the provider will be so in simpatico, it's going to crush our ideas of what mediums are all about.
Yeah.
They want us to describe what, like, the actual meaning of the dictionary, or
No,
what
no,
we have
like
now.
No,
what our idea of
no. I
artificial
mean, everybody
intelligence
has a
means.
dictionary. Just your take on it.
Well, but what I mean is, like, artificial intelligence in the sense of something that's artificially intelligent isn't what we're seeing now with the new systems and programs that are coming out. Because I would say that the new systems and programs coming out, that's not like actual artificial intelligence. To in a sense, it's programmed learning and all that, but I think the consequences of what's happening, whether it's AI or not, that is what is more important. You know what I mean?
I see.
So the
So it's
kind
not
of the
necessarily
software.
like having an AI that's completely AI. It's just something that is close
Yeah,
enough to being
I
an
find
AI.
it ridiculous. I find it ridiculous anytime anyone's arguing about like the machine takeover and like, oh, these are going to gain sentience, and oh, I'm so scared because AI is going to become like human and have emotions. And I'm like, no, that's not the danger of AI. You know, I mean, that's just a ridiculous sci-fi scenario. You know what I mean? It's not what's actually nefarious about artificial intelligence, which is it's basically making humans obsolete in every respect when it comes to work and creativity and arts and language and
But all these things that will make humans obsolete are all in the digital area. Like you're not gonna make an AI chef, I don't think, or an AI like athlete that can dunk.
yeah, but how many chefs
I
are there,
mean,
bro?
I know. I
No,
mean,
not a
but
lot,
time
but
can catch up. I
huh?
mean, this is
How
not
many
an
athletes
issue
are there? Athletes
because
are less than 0.00. You know, it's like
Yeah, I guess.
like athletes aren't anything.
Yeah.
The 90% of people, 90% of people work in jobs that are easily replaceable by
Yeah.
machine learning.
And not only
Because
and
that,
not
but
even that. I mean,
the
technology is advancing so fast that
now that you mention it as well, like the artistic roots, like Dali already took over
it's not
arts.
even
And then music
artistic roots or anything or music. It's look, it's why am I going to pay someone let's say a liberal arts major 25,000 a year to be in my company to do graphic design, when I can have a machine that I just say I want a logo that has this in the style of this with you know with this pattern, and I want it, and the more it goes getting good, the better it's like, and you'll get that in a second.
Yeah.
It's not even like you have to pay someone 25 grand a year to have her in the company, and then it'll take her, you know, 3 weeks to come up with some concepts and bring a whole. No, you can say tell me the computer, do this for me, and then give me 25 versions that vary, so I can choose of which ones I like, and the computer will instantly be able to do that. And that's just the artistic side. You can go to just the manual labor side of, you know, companies and office work. All that is obsolete. So
and the hardware is going to catch up as soon as that hardware catches up, and then it's going to be like
yeah.
the
So
rest
again,
because
it's
if
not. It's
you can
like
use
people
you
that are
can use
scared
the
of.
software you can use the software to enhance the hardware. I mean, to speed up the hardware because
The
but you
thing
can
is,
see that the
the
hardware
hardware has
is
always
lagging
been
behind.
ahead. The hardware
Yeah,
has always been ahead. What's been lagging behind has been the software.
is the software. Yeah,
And
Yes,
we
exactly.
now have the software, so the hardware is going to be the easy part, man.
Yeah.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
hardware is
exactly. That's my whole point.
the hardware
Well,
is well,
my point was just to say, like, people shouldn't be scared of like artificial intelligence. Like in a sci-fi sense,
Okay,
they should be
let's see.
scared. They should be scared of software programs, machine learning, making you obsolete in today's society, because it will happen, because it's cheaper to have, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
Okay, let's see Miguel's take. What's your take, Miguel?
my take on artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
I think it's the
Maybe
beginning.
make some analogies on how it connects with the snake eating its own tail, and with the previous questions that we posed.
Yeah, I think for me, artificial intelligence is the beginning of the end. The rebirth of a new creation. So the beginning of the question that I posed many years ago when this came out, I was talking to a friend. I said, okay, so if a group of software engineers write a program um to build this algorithm that plays chess, right? And you give it to an AI bot, but all the chess moves are already mapped. So they've already all been mapped in this program. But then the computer, at some point in time, this program, it creates the first move on its own.
Yeah.
Do you then do you attribute that new move to the software engineers who wrote the program, or do you attribute that win to the actual machine, the program?
Well, but
So
that happened already.
exactly? So who do you attribute that move to? You see what I mean? And then if that move, so is it the software engineer's code that wrote that made that move happen, or where? And if it isn't, then where is that coming from?
Well,
You
it
see what I mean?
is because the code is just trying to make the chessboard do like the best possible moves. So I guess it is still the
So for me, that question is kind of like, wow, because where you see, and that's the difference, and that's why I think the part where it shouldn't be I think my answer would be, I don't think it should be called artificial intelligence. I think it should be called mechanical intelligence.
I think the difference now, I think it's still the coders, like the people that created the software should still take the credit because they built the software so that like the person playing chess makes the best possible move. I think it would be cool if it makes a move that is unexpected, not because it's the best move, but it just because it wanted to do that move in it of its own
Well,
like self.
but that happened. That happened on that documentary. You know that Chinese game where they have the white pieces and the black
Yeah,
pieces.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
yeah.
forget the name of that documentary. Yeah,
Yeah.
So
it
it did
was
it
like the
already.
first time that the machine. Yeah, the machine did a move that was like everybody thought was a stupid move. Everybody was thinking like, why? Oh, the machine is screwing up now. But actually, if the machine didn't do that play, and then it was gonna lose the whole match. And then after they figured out
Yeah.
that play that it did was essential to win the game.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
And so for me, the question is the reason why I say it's not artificial because the the word artificial so the word artificial basically gives you an idea that there is a capacity to get information from outside the system. You see what I mean? But
Yeah.
that ability to get information from outside the system is
I don't believe it's outside.
generated within the system. So it goes me back. It takes me. It's kind of like theory automata. Have you guys heard of that theory?
No.
It's like those old robots, the wind-up dolls. Anyways, well, that's a whole other story. But it's when the computational part happens, and we know that happens. So I think the question is, man, is that these concepts are so complicated, but you have a system that's enclosed, and the computational part of that system is relatively simple, let's say, because of course it's very complicated and abstract when you go down into the particulars, but at the end of the day, if you sum it down to its like smallest parts, all it is summation. It's just addition. You're just adding, well, it's addition, subtraction, whatever. You're just putting things together. It's like numbers, 1, 2, 3. You're just continuing to put. But when does that become? So it's almost like when a dumb person, like a very dumb person, comes up with a really good idea. Where did that come from? You know what I mean? It's like we understand that the computational part of that reasoning happened inside, and I think that's the difference between the way that humans think and artificial intelligence, because I don't think it's artificial. I think it's intelligent in the sense that it has a capacity to make, to generate all these advanced computational queries. And I think from that sense, yes. But is it actually intelligent? I don't know. I don't think so, because I think
It's
intelligence.
not
Let me
intelligent at
let
all.
me let me
I
take
think
a, let me take a
intelligence is
shot at
the
it. Yeah.
ability to create, to generate new ideas. And I don't think that, and then of course that goes back to the question, the new idea of creating a new move that hasn't been mapped.
Although
Where does that come from?
I agree
You know
with
what I
David
mean?
in a sense that AI now is more like a tool that the people in power are using more than like a sentient being. I think this tool
I think it's a puppet.
well,
It's almost
no,
like a puppet.
Oh,
no,
can I go now?
It's like a
I
super
want to do mine
sophisticated advanced
because I
puppet. But
heard
at the end of the
everybody
day,
and I'm
the
yeah, go
puppet
on a different perspective.
is made in the image of the human, and then you tie some strings onto it, and it dances, and it does all these movements that you want it to do. And it looks real. And I mean, imagine the first people that saw a real puppet this is, the first ever puppet ever generated. People must have been like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing they've ever seen. You're talking way back in the days. They didn't have TV, they didn't have phones, they didn't have anything. These people were living in like farms in the middle of nowhere. Like the closest thing you had to entertainment was like,
well, you
watching
had
somebody
theater.
get crushed by, you know what I mean? Like, and then you see like this little thing like moving around and acting just like a human being. That must have been crazy. You know what I mean? I think that's what artificial intelligence for me is today for mankind. It's like a little puppet that can move around and do all these funny little things. But I don't think it's intelligent, because I think if it was actually intelligent, if you asked it real questions, it would answer them, and it cannot answer real questions. All it can do is regurgitate
I see.
whatever the software has programmed it to regurgitate. You know what I mean? And it's really good at doing that, and it does it really, really fast. But how did we end up with a progressive liberal IA machine? Somebody had to code that into the system, so it's not getting its ideas from the real world. It's not.
Okay, so I would just I will start, and my perspective is completely different, and I'm coming with a very religious biased perspective, of course. And I would start, like, if you go with conventional wisdom or what schools teach today, if you ask that simple question, where does intelligence come from? They will tell you that we're evolving, and then we're coming up with new ideas because as a species we're evolving. And I completely disagree with that idea. I think that there's a source of intelligence in the world today. There's a source. All intelligence is coming from a source. And there's good intelligence and there's bad intelligence. There's good intelligence and there's evil intelligence. But they all have to come from a source where more of that intelligence can come from. And one of the sources that I think can be is one of those sources is God, because we see that his creation, what he created, is a world full with intelligent beings, like dogs, cats, birds. They're all intelligent. They're not stupid. They're very clever. Even in the animal kingdom, you can see a lot of examples on that. But we can also see that from the negative world. I mean, from the dark, like the spiritual world, we can also see that a lot of intelligence is coming from that side. Like the fallen angels, they brought a lot of intelligence with themselves. So I think that intelligence is coming from the spiritual realm, is coming from the top, and is coming to the bottom, to this earthly plane. And I think that basically what AI is a simple, like, the question you can ask is like, why does the snake eat its tail? Why? Because it's hungry. It needs to eat something. The snake needs to eat. Then the snake needs to feed on something. But you can only feed on one thing. You can either feed on God or you can either feed on yourself, because there isn't anything outside of that. And and so basically what we're seeing right now is that, for me, what AI is like the the if you see like where the raw materials are coming from, like the chips is coming from the sand. Humans are made out of dirt, right? The cables is just oil. The copper, the metals, they're all extracted minerals from the earth. So basically what we're doing is we hack we hack the material world to open a black hole that will suck everything in. And why I say it's sucking everything in, it's like a big vacuum machine that just sucks everything in, because and it is connected to the human heart.
Where is this located?
It's connected to the human heart. Why is connected to the human heart? Because
Where's the
all
machine?
the machine learning, all the machine learning is based on reward. You need to reward the bot. And how do you reward the bot? When you worship what the machine brings you back. So the end goal is to be rewarded by your worship. So it's actually a vacuum that sucks when you worship it. So the machine already learned that in order to suck more information, because basically you just feed data into it, right? You feed a lot of data into it, it sucks data, and then you reward the system. It's like a black magic. You reward the system with how you worship it. And humans, like they want to always be amazed by something. So they're amazed by, look how I wrote it, this amazing piece. I put in the chat GTP and it write this amazing thing. Wow, it's amazing. I worship it. So I need to put more information inside. And every time it's coming back with more. So you create like this vacuum machine loophole that sucks in information, that sucks in everything. And then basically what's going to happen is that I think it's going to create such an attractive, something so attractive for the human heart that is a big scam that's just basically going to suck everybody into it. That's basically my take on AI. And why I say that is connected, like if you ask me about the Romans, because since the dawn of man, we have always tried to build this system. We have always tried to create, anytime that you try to create some kind of technology or that you try to create something, it means that you want to alter the natural world to suit your own goals, to suit your own pursuits, to suit your own thing. And you become the snake because you want to eat something that you shouldn't eat. But at the end, you just need to eat yourself. So you start feeding on yourself, and then it becomes like a loophole where it's never ending. And the end is just going to be catastrophe.
Is this all technology in your opinion?
Pardon?
Is this all technology in your opinion that is like this?
No, I think the whole system has been.
No. What I mean is, you said that like since the dawn of man, we've been trying to manipulate like the natural resources of the world, make them unnatural. So, and that would make it technology, right? Let's suppose a building.
Definitely.
Would that be classified in something like this?
Even a nail, even a wheel. If you make a wheel to move a cart, you're already feeding the snake that eats himself. Because you're already playing the system.
God gave specific instructions on how to build the temples and how to make technology.
I know,
and all
but that's after the fall. And everything that happens after the fall is like the original plan, and then everything that happens after that is we're already down this path that is already going to lead us to.
I don't think where the point of AI is for it to be worshipped. Like the point of AI is for it to be used as a tool, and then can you say that tools aren't worshipped? Tools are just made. So
wait,
our lives
Alex,
are made.
I think I agree with Gabriel on this one, because what you're seeing now is a very, very initial phase, the sort of the surface of this artificial iceberg.
Yeah.
So you're barely touching the surface, and in the surface is, this thing, it writes poems, it writes letters, it does all this stuff. So it starts with the language. But if you look at the definition, I think this is our God that we've created. Because if you look at the definition of God himself, he says in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. So you need to start with language. First, you start with language. That's how you infiltrate. You get language to come in. But right now, for example, artificial intelligence, you could say, okay, so you have the picture ones. The picture ones, you say, create the perfect woman, let's say.
Yeah.
Boom, and it goes and it gets all the images and it does this beautiful, gorgeous girl, and you see, oh my God, this girl is just unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this. But to each their own. So you say, well, I'm more into like shorties. I like them to have a bigger backside, top. Okay, so you go back and you query the system and you tell it to do something a bit more to your taste, and boom, and it goes, and it just blows your mind. Okay, that's you interacting with a machine, right? And the machine is presenting images. Then the next stage is it doesn't present an image anymore. It makes a video. And now it doesn't make a video. Now this bitch talks to you. She can have a full conversation with this hoe. And she's into you, man. She freaking loves you. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Bro, now she's a physical thing. She's got hands. She's got the big and she's in your face. Bam!
But
What is
my
she
point
there?
is,
She's a god. She's a god because you can say, yo, go make me a sandwich and bring me a beer. I'm watching the game. Right? And do it naked. Boom. She's a machine. She's going to do it, right? That's fucking beautiful. That's what man has been praying for since we arrived on this earth. It's like, God, please. And so the man is so brilliant. He's so, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. I think personally, for me, that's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, the man, you get him, you put him in a prison, and he finds a way to escape. Literally. With a little razor or something, he starts making a little hole in the wall. The next thing you know, boom, he's out of prison. And what have we done? We need, as human beings, to have a deep, deep relationship with something very powerful. That is what generates the most amount of long-lasting resolution for a human, is to have a deep relationship with something powerful. Imagine having a deep, intimate, loving, sexual, whatever you want to call it, relationship with something that's so powerful, that's so beautiful. I mean, that can do anything and everything, whatever. It's like everyone's going to have their own personal God.
But would that be
no, but
something that
my point is
that humans should strive to have, even if we have the capability of attaining this?
my point is that
I think we're already there. It already exists. For some people, it already
every
exists.
time you put something, every time you ask the machine to do something for you, and it comes back and it rewards you, is you feel satisfied because you're being fed, and that's my whole point. You're being fed
Let's
by
not
something
forget,
that is not.
Gabriel, let's not forget that one of the warnings that was given to Adam and Eve by the snake, by Satan himself, was, if you eat from this fruit, you will be like gods. You will become gods. And what do gods do? Gods create.
No, but you will become gods in the sense that you will know the good from evil.
Yes, but why not now? Why not? You will become gods. Who will become gods? The seed of Adam and Eve. We literally, when we're on the cusp of attaining God status as a species, because now we are going to create, dude. The second you create this bitch that I'm talking about, you're God. I'm sorry, you are God, and this thing doesn't get tired. It doesn't. Okay, maybe it needs to power down to refuel the battery, or it needs to go into some special tank to wash all the gunk out. You know, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, this thing is what, and we're there already. We're already there, and the women can have one as well. They'll have a guy, a tall, tall, dark and lean guy with a foreign accent. What the sandwich do you want me to make for you? You know what I mean? Something like that. I don't know, whatever it is that women are into today. You know, like everyone's going to have one. And so why would people get married? You know, why would, and we go back to my old conversation of fertility rates and the conveyor belt and the system. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I see it more on a philosophical way.
and then
humans need to fill the void with something, and now we created this mechanism
and
where
if
we
you can have
always
one,
or we can always feed on something.
Why not have two more? Or three or four, or have an army or a harem
to feed us whatever we want to eat. Because let's say you're not into, let's say you're into let's say you're not into girls. Let's say you're not into boys. You understand what I mean?
It explains everything, man. It destroys every single argument that the left has ever had since the beginning of time about morality. Because in a world where everything is artificial, where nothing is actually real, then morality has absolutely no place to sit. Literally. It's left standing. It's got nowhere to sit. Because and you see it nowadays with video games. You can literally log in, put on your headset, and just go on a massive killing spree. And just kill. And it's freaking fun. And humans love that shit. And there's millions of people that they have to go get their 2-3 hours a day of killing. And the more kills you get, the more and the better you feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's free.
Yeah, but I don't think that's like you don't equate that to actual killing. You know what I mean?
But
It's
that's
not
what
like,
Miguel's saying.
Because the technology isn't good enough yet. Imagine the technology.
If we get this,
wait, Alex, before you say that, imagine the technology where you're enveloped by this whole thing, where it's so physical, where it's so real that you can't distinguish between reality and this, and you're still doing the same thing. What are you then? When the graphics get so good that you can feel, that you can touch, that you can feel the punch, the sucker punch on the face. Imagine when we get to that level of technology, and we're getting there. Then is it more wrong or less wrong? And you still want to kill people?
Well,
you know what I mean?
The argument would be
Bruh.
that the people that we're killing don't have a conscience and they don't feel anything. So then the question is, does it make it moral or immoral based on the person's feelings? Or is it just bad in it of itself?
And what's going to happen when people start going loopy and a guy goes to the supermarket and he forgot that he's actually in real world, but he thinks he's in the game, and somebody comes and taps him on the shoulder, and the next thing you know,
50 years.
50 years, dude.
Yeah, no,
we're there.
The world that you're talking about is
we're there. We're there already.
For it to be tactile.
No, for it to be tactile, they already have tactile suits.
What?
Yeah,
you can buy literal suits and put them on.
Nah, but that's
not
but
that's it. Will still. I'm talking about when it's for real, When it's like Star Trek, that you go in the
okay.
the
I'll put it to
holodeck
you this
and
way. I'll put it to you this way. 1940s, 50s, first TVs come out. Black and white box where you see all these like little white spots on and off. Now, literally, smartphones, and you can talk to somebody on the other side of the world.
Yeah,
in 50 years. In 50 years.
Let me give the conclusion. Let me give the conclusion of my idea where this one is going.
I think it'll probably be a bit more, a bit shorter than 50 years because the acceleration rate is so big. But
I liked your theory overall, Gabriel, in terms of the philosophical stuff that's behind it. But I don't know if I'm gonna sign on to the whole sucking part of things. You know what I mean? About it sucking you in and. I do understand. No, wait. Yes, in the sense that I'm saying right now about this creating this artificial world.
It's already sucking. I mean, it's already sucking all your data, all your pictures, your life, the pictures of your son.
Where is this machine?
Pardon?
Where is this machine?
All that data is being stored. I mean, this is being stored right now. Right now, it's on. Your phone is sucking all this. What's happening right now? This interaction right now
Yeah.
is going in there, and it's gonna be used later for something. It's later
Okay,
gonna be
David,
in
what
an
about
algorithm.
Wait, I
But
think
what about
let me
Gabriel
conclude. Let me conclude.
wanted to finish his conclusion. What was your conclusion?
Yes. Okay. My Imagine now you build a machine. Okay. This is the conclusion, and then you connect it to all that the vacuum machine that sucks in all the information on a daily basis, like billions of pictures, billions of emotions, billions of texts, billions. One machine, only one machine that's connected to all that. And then you fuse that machine, you open a portal, and you put the spirit of the Antichrist inside.
Hmm.
That's artificial intelligence. That's the beast. That's why they're building this whole system. And
Wait,
that's God.
the
Because
spirit of the Antichrist. How does that work? I don't understand that.
okay, so the system now that we have now, the
I
system that
thought
we have
that
that
the
we've been
spirit of the
wait
Antichrist was already alive and going doing its rounds.
no the since the dawn of man, this world has been controlled by one spirit. It's the spirit of God. He's the creator of this universe. He's the creator of this planet, of this realm, right? All human beings are connected
What about the Prince
to
of
this realm.
Darkness?
He also there. That's what I'm saying.
Or Satan?
My point, my point is that when you take Lucifer, and I'm talking specifically about Lucifer, and you inject them in this machine to take over this machine that is connected to all the data that this machine is
I thought he
sucking
was
in
already
on a daily
connected.
basis. Pardon?
I
Maybe, I
thought he
don't
was
know. Maybe
already
he's
connected.
already connected.
No, but
No,
wait,
because the
but
Maybe
wait
way
he's
a
already
minute.
connected.
Isn't
the
Lucifer
way I
and the
view it,
Antichrist different people? Satan isn't
yes,
the
Pardon?
Antichrist. The
yes,
Antichrist is a separate being.
yeah, yeah. I thought,
I'm
but
talking about I'm talking
my
about the beast.
the way that I view it is, you know how how Christians
But
believe.
let me conclude, and then
Yeah,
you can
no,
say
but
whatever you
just
want to
I
say.
think
Let me
this is
conclude.
gonna support your argument, because you know how Christians have the spirit of God. Christians have the spirit of God, and then they say, where there's two or three gathered together
Yeah.
in my name, I'm in the midst. And there's this sort of illusionary, just to put it in sort of a more like descriptive way, this sort of illusionary sense that there's this ethereal kind of mystical being that flies around and is in the ether wherever Christians are. I think the same thing can be applied to the Antichrist, as in a spirit. It's a spiritual sort of entity that kind of flies around. It's ethereal. It's in the air. It's a mood. It's a spiritual thing. And the reason why it's spiritual is because it's not physical. And so I was under the impression that that's already the internet. You know what I mean? Like that's already there. It already resides in there. I think the part that where it becomes artificial intelligence is where that becomes active, because like you said before, there's good and there's evil. You see what I mean? So at the
I know, but
moment,
you need to have, for example, you need to have. Okay, uh, let me conclude. The 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 God, the Spirit, is coming to this world. And how did he do it? He did it through natural means. He come into a man, and he live inside the world. And then we, as Christians, we worship this man who was God. The devil is a thief. He just replicates and copies ideas. He's gonna do exactly the same thing, and he's using raw materials from the earth, hacking it into technology to do exactly the same thing. He needs to incarnate, and he's gonna incarnate, but you need to build the hive. You need to build the network, because God already built this, is built into the natural world. And then what he built the network with the 5G, with the fiber optics. All that's gonna get upgraded, right?
But couldn't he just
And then he's
incarnate
using the device.
like Jesus did and just be in like a normal human
He
and
needs
be
a
like?
body.
Well, but that's what I mean. Can't he just
He
do
needs a
like
body.
Can't he just possess a dude?
So that's what I'm saying.
No.
That's what I'm saying. That the beast is the physical body of that energy that's gonna be connected to the hive mind, and everybody's gonna be connected. You understand what I mean? He
I don't think
stole.
it's going to be a physical body though.
he's stealing the.
Yeah, that's what I
the
was
thing.
trying to
My,
say as
my
well.
my point of view is that he's stealing the creation from God.
I think it's gonna
He's
be
stealing, and it all
it's
comes
gonna
down
be
to consciousness.
it's gonna be a spirit. So it's gonna be
The
like
my
all the
conclusion.
AI
Let me just
tools.
finish my
Wait,
conclusion.
all the
My
Okay,
AI
before
conclusion
you
is
finish that conclusion, can we do a little pause because I need to use the toilet?
Okay.
Give me a second.
we can cut
I
this
need
out,
to
right?
go in like 5 or
Okay.
10 minutes, and then I need to go.
Yeah, we
Well,
can
I'll
cut this
just give
out.
my conclusion. When Miguel goes back, you guys can. My conclusion is that is
Espérate,
the beast.
Say your conclusion in 3, 2, 1. Say your conclusion.
Okay, the beast. Everybody's gonna worship the beast. That's my conclusion. My conclusion is everybody's gonna worship the beast, but the beast is a beast that is given a mouth to speak. He's given a mouth to speak. He's given a mouth to say things and to do things and to walk the earth. And I think that this is what they're building right now. All this, everything is that has been happening is to fulfill that like can say the dark prophecy of bringing in the half machine, half man, half God. Can put
Yeah,
it in
but I
that way.
don't think it'll be a person.
It's gonna be a machine. It's gonna be
Well, but
like
I think it's gonna be like like a
imagine.
Rehoboam sort of thing, like in Westworld. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just that, like
Yeah, like
the spirit of the beast will be within that, because basically what you need
yeah.
is you're so on point with the network of the 5G. It's not even 5G. It's like just a net when everything is networked and everything is artificial, and then you pour in the Antichrist, which is basically the hatred of God within that system.
Yes.
And that is
Yes.
basically just computing what everyone does, and you can't buy or sell because basically
It knows.
you have to work within that network. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And you have
And
to
you
get the mark to operate within that network. You know what I mean?
and you need to
And
think
that
about
is
one more element. Think about the SJWs today, or the liberal army, how fanatic they are. Imagine if you have something that powerful. Imagine the radicalness that you're gonna have. Like
Espérate,
imagine
ustedes no
the
están hablando
devotion
todavía, ¿verdad?
and the
Yeah, so
passion.
¿Cómo?
so Gabriel's point was basically that the AI is gonna be the Antichrist, is gonna be the beast, and that basically spirit of the Antichrist is gonna be put into AI, and is gonna basically have all the knowledge. And
Yeah, yeah, but you're not recording, right?
yeah.
yeah.
Pero you're gonna cut it out, ¿no?
No, it'll be fine. Don't worry. You don't update.
Pero yo estaba aquí, yo vine aquí del baño y yo hice así, rápido. ¡Ué!
No, it doesn't matter. Well, that appeared just now, but the
Mira,
rest
eso es lo que estaba hablando Gabriel, el culebrón.
Eso es para qué.
¿Cómo?
Eso es para qué.
No,
Eso es
es
para
un
fumar
juguete.
hierba.
Eso es un juguete de Reese. De madera.
Ah.
Una culebra.
That's why that's why I find it like Christians throughout the years have always been like, oh, the Antichrist is Obama or some dumb shit like that. You know what I mean? Or like it's gonna be this one guy, and I always found that so ridiculous. And it's like,
Well, because there was an
how is
entire industry.
well, but
There
how
was
is a
an
whole
entire industry
population?
built.
A whole population is never going to
Yeah.
worship a politician. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is never going to worship a world leader,
Yeah.
or they're never going to worship because people will just be. They'll just say like fuck it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm a contrarian
The thing
or
is,
whatever.
also, they won't even know. I don't
But
think they'll know that they're worshiping the Antichrist.
no,
They'll
they're
just do it like inadvertently. Like they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, we have to do this, and this is what. Oh, we have to do the chip. Okay, this is the chip, and this is what I need to do so that I
but
can buy
yeah,
and
it
sell."
doesn't even need to. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
what I mean. It's like you have to be within the network to operate as a person, and the people who will reject that will not be part of the new system. Well, they'll tell them like you cannot be part of society, and everyone is going to
Yeah. Have you
look
got?
and everyone is going to look at those people and agree, yes, you cannot be part of society. Why do you want to go against the machine or the beast that is solving all the wars? And I mean,
Yeah, it
So
has
do
the
you ever
answers. The
think?
machine
Do
has
you
the answers.
do you
the most
reckon we're ever
charming-
gonna get those robots then?
What robots?
What
The one that makes
robots?
you sandwiches.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
No.
I think
No,
you're
I
gonna
don't think
get
so either.
virtual. I think you're gonna get virtual reality in which you can connect and, have your because that would be too expensive.
Yeah,
And
and the hardware for that would be too expensive as well. It's easier to just because the thing is with humans is that they're easily manipulated. Like you don't need to create a real robot. You can just create a world.
Dude,
Like they
but
are
have
the
you
same.
seen Boston
But
Dynamics? Those robots
yeah,
walking
yeah,
around.
but
They're
it's
like,
not the same. You don't
it's
need
never gonna be that.
you
It's
don't
never
need
gonna
to
be that
you don't need to
because you can
create
train. You
something
can train.
like
Like you can train a man as a teenager to get a dopamine response and a serotonin kind of release from porn as opposed to having sex with a real woman, and that is as far removed of the real thing as it can be. You know what I mean? And you can train that person over years to find that more pleasurable than the actual thing.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So you men that
dude,
are
that would only work. That would only work if that person that you've trained has never been with the real deal.
not that's not
The
true.
second you put
You
him
know
with the
how many
real deal,
guys?
it's
You
gonna
know
be
how
like,
many guys?
bam,
That's
Broski.
not true.
No,
You
that's
know
not
how
true.
many guys? You know how many guys nowadays have issues having sex with real women
Yeah,
that are addicted to pornography because it's
yeah.
it's a completely different
Ni
thing.
se le para.
It's
Literally, they don't even get
exactly
hard because their
Yo,
brain is
100%.
their brain is so hardwired to watching these
Bro, the
videos
thing is that
that
you're talking about training a brain since it's in its developmental years. So let's say you get a 12-year-old and you
mm,
say the dopamine serotonin response you're getting from this action, and then doing that every day until he's 22. And then that
mm-hmm.
guy goes and he has sex with a real woman. Yeah, I'm not saying that everyone is like this, but I know that there are hundreds. That's why the no fap thing is so big because men are realizing that they can't even get the same dopamine and serotonin response pleasure from a real woman than they are from a porn. So now you imagine you get and you train someone since they're a teenager or since they're developing or since you're a
Yeah.
kid and you train them on the dopamine serotonin releases of virtual reality, like in anything. Like their reward for doing something heroic will be in the virtual world. You don't even have to have a Boston Dynamics
I don't know,
robot
man.
that's in your house.
I don't know. I think you're saying that with a lot of probably statistics and a lot of research and whatever paper, whatever, like peer reviewed things that like reports about that kind of stuff. But I still think that any guy, I don't care what he's been doing his whole entire life, if you take him to a room and you have two doors and you say in this door you have a computer with unlimited access to porn, and in this room, in this door you have like a proper 304 that's going to get the job done. Where are you going to go? What are you going to
But
do?
that's
I
a
don't
false.
know one guy in the
Okay.
world that's going to go for the
But
computer, man.
but
it's a
that's
false.
You know what I mean?
You're putting it's a false equivalency, and it's a made up scenario that will never happen. What I'm trying to say is
Mhm.
that when these men go to a real woman, they are not finding that it's as pleasurable as just
yeah.
porn. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not that like if you gave anyone the choice, it's like you know what I mean.
And not
It's like
only
would you
that, it's
rather
like
It's a
you
breathe
said.
some
chemical thing.
artificial?
Wait, and
Huh?
It's a
it's like you
chemical thing.
said, like
It's a
it's about
chemical thing,
profit
yeah.
as well. It's not.
Yeah.
Why would you need to spend so much money on making this girl that is like the best real life girl ever?
Because
If
that's
when you
what
can just
humans do.
no, but
That's what we
why would
do.
you go through all that effort
But
when
the
you can
thing it
just
won't.
make
It's not
VR?
necessary
Dude,
because
we
you
started
can just
already with
train.
Alexa. We
Yeah,
already have Alexa.
but that's not what I mean. Why would
Why
you need
didn't
to
they call him
create?
Jim or George?
Why would you
Because
why?
nobody wants Jim or George. Everybody wants Alexa.
But why would you need to
But if
create a real life version of something when the VR version is enough?
the
There's
Because
not
thing
gonna
is
be
that
a market.
the thing is that
nothing's gonna beat Mrs. Terminator walking up the steps.
you're wrong.
Start
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why you're wrong. Because where is this Mrs. Terminator going to be? In your dumpy apartment in
Yeah.
in a favela. That's
Yeah.
not gonna happen. You're gonna
Well,
be having
obviously,
sex.
not everyone's
You're
going to
gonna be
have
wait.
access.
No,
We're
Ron.
talking about cutting edge
Everyone. I'm talking
technology, man.
about the poorest person in the world is gonna have access to having a supermodel girlfriend in virtual reality, and they're gonna be having sex on Mars. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's never going to be the same thing as real life, man.
It doesn't matter because you just need to control, like
Nah.
you just need to control that
Yeah.
reward response.
Dude, I'm going a step further. I'm saying now you can take this 304 to the movies. You can take her to,
Well, but you can
to
do all
have
that in
that's
stuff.
VR.
real. That's
You
real.
can
know
do
what I
all
mean?
that in VR. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
but
thing
you
is,
can't. But
the thing
I'm
is,
talking about.
why would you want to do this? The reason VR would be
the thing
important
is that there's not going to
because
be an infrastructure to
because
do that
because
anyway.
the
because
purpose of
men
VR. No,
because
but
men in
wait.
general, and this is something that is true, men in general aren't only addicted to dopamine response and serotonin and all. Men in general also want to be. They want to have that experience of being loved and of being
Yeah.
able
Yeah,
to
they're
love
gonna
as
have that
well.
experience
They're
in the
gonna
And
have
VR
with
that,
world.
the with the
This is
over
why.
I think I agree.
gynocentrification of the
I
world,
agree with Alex and David because I think the future is going in the brain,
Exactly. So
hacking the brain
this
to
is
dude.
gonna be the
interconnect
You
with
problem.
see it
virtual reality.
happening in Japan already. People are renting girlfriends for a day.
Yeah, but
And it's
that's
got
the thing
nothing
is
to,
that
and it's
you're
not a
still
sexual
looking at
thing.
it. You're
They
still
just
looking
want
at
to
it.
feel like they belong to somebody, and
You're
that
still
somebody
looking at
belongs
it.
to them.
You're still looking at it as it's
It's
the
an
past.
innate
I agree
You
human
know,
with
I
sort
mean,
of
Alex and
desire.
David.
you're still looking at it
The
with
thi-
like past eyes. You're thinking about like I'm gonna take my robot
yeah,
girlfriend to the movies, and no, that infrastructure isn't gonna be
yeah.
there.
The thing is that
You're gonna be taking your virtual reality girlfriend to the movies in Neptune, and then you're
exactly.
gonna fly off in a spaceship, and you're gonna visit another planet. That's what I'm saying is gonna happen,
Exactly.
and you're not gonna
Man.
care whether it's.
I think that's more far away than having the robots.
No, are you
I
crazy?
think we've
You're
That is
I
joking.
think
I
already
we've
don't think
already
there.
so.
got the.
That's already
It's
happening
already you
now.
can already do that. I can connect to my PlayStation VR and I'm in the Enterprise. I'm in Star Trek, and I'm running the bridge.
Yeah,
It's
but you
not
can't
100%
feel. You
real.
can't feel
Well,
everything.
but
Yeah, but it's
Like
a
you can
lot
feel.
easier.
what's easier to make a suit that can make you feel, or to make a robot that can
No,
like
Alex,
make you
Alex,
sandwiches?
because I already thought about this. It's not a suit. They just need to hack your brain. That
Exactly.
they just need to connect the right cables. That when you see something in the virtual reality world, you're gonna feel it with your hands. Because
Or
at
yeah,
the end, when you
exactly.
feel
Yeah, yeah,
something,
yeah.
it's all inside your brain.
Yeah.
It's all
Honestly,
inside your brain.
I
Everything
think we're
happens in your
even
brain.
I think it's even possible to have it that even if you don't feel anything, if the images are so realistic. I mean, obviously, it would be better if they can make you feel it. But I think that if they get to a point where the images are so realistic, if it's literally you're seeing what's there, you won't even have to feel it. You'll be touching yourself and being like, you know what I mean? I'm here. You know what I mean?
Okay, I read this book. Is about one doctor. He was working on patients that they don't feel anything. They these kind of people, they're born, they cannot feel anything, so they can
Their
cut their
nervous
finger,
system
they
is
can burn
fucked
their
up.
hands. Yeah, they're nervous, and they've been spending, and I read that book a long time ago, and they've been spending a lot of money on how to hack the brain interface for this kind of things. Once they find the right cables and the right equipment to connect into it, forget about it. You don't need suit, you don't need anything. It's all gonna be in the brain. They're just gonna have to put something inside your brain, put the glasses on. You're in another world. This is where we're going. The future is not hardware. The future is software,
Exactly.
and the
That
future is
100% agree.
brain
Not
software,
only is it
brain
cheaper, but
interface with
the reason
software.
for this is
That's the
because
future.
you're gonna open your door
Fuck
to
software.
Unfortunately,
reality.
Software is gonna be
Miguel,
like
There's gonna be
the
a
unfortunately,
Matrix.
luxury market. There's gonna be a
No,
luxury market
the
for the
thing is,
real
Miguel.
deal.
The thing is,
There
Miguel.
will
unfortunately,
be.
The thing
Miguel,
is, Miguel.
unfortunately, you're not
You're
going to
gonna
have a
No.
big robot
you're gonna
wife.
open your door, Miguel, and the real life is gonna be depressing. You're gonna go to wherever you're going, and it's gonna be sad. And then what's gonna be the escape? You're gonna go back to your house, and it's gonna be a dump that is like 2 meters long, and you're gonna sit down in your chair, and that's gonna be your whole house. It's gonna be a tiny little room. You're gonna put your stuff on,
The
and then
Matrix,
you're in a
the
different
Matrix
planet.
already told us what's gonna happen, and until today we still didn't figure it out. But they already
Yeah,
told
who
us
was
what's
the
gonna
guy
happen.
who was saying that? That was the guy who went to London, whatever, the
London
London
Real.
podcast, London Real. He said the Matrix is not a movie. The Matrix is a documentary. I just
Yes, it's
remember
true.
that him saying that.
I agree with him.
I just found
I
that
agree.
really funny.
Well,
You
guys,
know
I
why?
was like,
Because I see everything.
we've been going on for an
Yeah,
hour
we
and
need.
30 minutes, and I know Gabriel needs to
Yeah,
go soon. So
I need to go.
Yeah, me too.